In the heart of the lush Yoruba kingdom of Elembi, where the air hummed with ancient spirits and the earth pulsed with age-old rhythms, lived Adeboye, the revered chief priestess. Her word was law, her connection to the gods unquestioned. For as long as anyone could remember, Adeboye and her predecessors had guided the people of Elembi, interpreting the will of the deities and keeping the sacred traditions alive. Adeboye's days were filled with rituals and responsibilities. Each morning, she would climb the hill to the sacred grove, her feet following the well-worn path as she carried offerings to the shrines. The villagers watched her pass with awe and respect, knowing that their fates rested in her capable hands. But the winds of change were blowing across Elembi, carrying with them the scent of a new faith. One sunny morning, as Adeboye descended from the grove, she saw a stranger entering the village. He was tall and lean, with skin the color of rich earth and eyes that sparkled with an inner fire. This was Femi, a Christian missionary who had traveled far to bring his message to Elembi. From the moment Femi set foot in the village, Adeboye felt a disturbance in the spiritual realm. The gods whispered warnings in her ears, urging her to drive this intruder away before he could upset the delicate balance of their world. And so, Adeboye set out to confront the newcomer. Their first meeting was like a clash of thunder. Adeboye, resplendent in her ceremonial robes, stood tall and proud before Femi. "You are not welcome here, stranger," she declared, her voice ringing with authority. "Your foreign god has no place in Elembi." Femi, however, was not easily cowed. He met Adeboye's gaze with quiet confidence. "I come in peace," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "I bring a message of love and salvation for all people." "We have our own gods," Adeboye retorted. "They have protected and guided us for generations. We need no salvation from your foreign deity." And so began a battle of wills and beliefs that would shake Elembi to its very foundations. Femi, undeterred by Adeboye's hostility, began to preach his message in the village square. Some villagers were curious, drawn by his charisma and the promise of a loving, forgiving God. Others turned away, clinging tightly to the traditions they had always known. Adeboye watched with growing alarm as Femi's influence spread. She redoubled her efforts to strengthen the old ways, leading more elaborate rituals and reminding the people of the power of their ancestral gods. But even as she fought against Femi's teachings, she found herself drawn to the man himself. There was something about Femi that both infuriated and fascinated Adeboye. His unwavering faith, so different from her own, challenged her in ways she had never experienced. Their debates, which started as heated arguments, gradually evolved into deep philosophical discussions that left both of them questioning long-held beliefs. One evening, as the sun set over Elembi, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and purple, Adeboye and Femi found themselves alone by the village well. Their latest debate had ended in a stalemate, and they stood in companionable silence, watching the day fade into night. "Why do you stay?" Adeboye asked suddenly, turning to face Femi. "Surely you can see that many here resist your teachings." Femi's smile was gentle. "Because I believe in the power of love to overcome all barriers," he said. "And because I see goodness in the people of Elembi, including you, Adeboye." His words stirred something deep within Adeboye's heart, a feeling she dared not name. She turned away, unsettled by the warmth spreading through her chest. Little did Adeboye and Femi know that their growing connection was part of a greater plan. High above the mortal realm, in a place beyond human comprehension, the Yoruba gods and the Christian god watched the unfolding drama with great interest. "See how my priestess stands firm against your messenger, Oloran, the supreme Yoruba deity," boasted to his Christian counterpart. The Christian god's response was serene. "Perhaps. But watch how love begins to bridge the gap between them." And so, a divine wager was made. Would the love growing between Adeboye and Femi be strong enough to unite two vastly different belief systems? Or would the weight of tradition and the fear of change tear them apart? As days turned into weeks, subtle changes began to occur in Elembi. Villagers who had once shunned Femi now greeted him with cautious smiles. And those who attended Adeboye's rituals started to ask questions, seeking deeper understanding of their faith. Adeboye found herself looking at her own beliefs with new eyes. The certainty she had always felt began to waver, replaced by a curiosity about Femi's God of love and forgiveness. Femi, too, was changed by his time in Elembi. He gained a deep respect for the Yoruba traditions, seeing the beauty and wisdom in practices he had once dismissed as pagan. But their growing closeness did not go unnoticed. Adeboye's acolytes watched with concern as their chief priestess spent more and more time with the Christian missionary. Whispers of betrayal began to circulate through the village. Jide, Adeboye's most devoted acolyte, finally confronted her one day after a ritual. "Great priestess," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "the people fear you are turning away from our gods. They say you have been bewitched by the foreign preacher." Adeboye's heart clenched at Jide's words. She knew her actions had caused confusion and fear among her people. But how could she explain the transformation happening within her soul? Meanwhile, Femi faced his own challenges. Word of his unorthodox approach in Elembi had reached his superiors. A letter arrived, carried by a travel-worn messenger, warning Femi that he was treading a dangerous path. "Your mission is to convert the heathens," the letter read, "not to embrace their pagan ways. Remember your duty to God and the church." The pressure from both sides weighed heavily on Adeboye and Femi. They found themselves at a crossroads, torn between their growing feelings for each other and their duties to their respective faiths. As if sensing the turmoil in the village, nature itself seemed to respond. Strange omens began to appear. A double rainbow arched across the sky, bridging the sacred grove and the spot where Femi had built his small church. Flowers bloomed out of season, their petals displaying patterns that looked like a fusion of Christian crosses and Yoruba symbols. The villagers were both awed and frightened by these signs. Some saw them as a warning against mixing the old and new faiths. Others interpreted them as divine approval of the changes happening in Elembi. One night, as a full moon hung low in the sky, Adeboye and Femi met in secret at the edge of the sacred grove. The air was thick with tension and unspoken feelings. "Adeboye," Femi said, his voice hoarse with emotion, "I cannot deny what I feel for you. But I fear we are bringing chaos to Elembi." Adeboye reached out, her fingers intertwining with Femi's. "I too am afraid," she admitted. "My people look to me for guidance, but I find myself lost. Your God, your faith, they call to something deep within me. Yet I cannot simply abandon the gods who have watched over us for generations." As they stood there, caught between two worlds, a miracle occurred. A soft light began to emanate from the sacred grove, growing stronger until it illuminated the entire clearing. Within the light, Adeboye and Femi saw visions that took their breath away. They saw Elembi's future, a future where the wisdom of Yoruba traditions blended seamlessly with the compassion of Christian teaching. They saw a community united, not divided, by faith. Children learned both the old stories and the new, finding value in both. The sacred grove and Femi's church stood side by side, neither diminishing the other. But the vision also showed the path to this future, and it was not an easy one. Adeboye and Femi saw the challenges they would face, the opposition from both sides, the sacrifices they would need to make. As the light faded, Adeboye and Femi looked at each other with new understanding. They realized that their love, their connection, was not a mistake or a test. It was a bridge between worlds, a chance to show that faith, at its core, was about love, compassion, and unity. With renewed purpose, Adeboye and Femi returned to the village. Over the coming weeks, they began to teach a new way of thinking. Adeboye spoke to her people about the beauty she had found in Femi's teachings, while still honoring the gods of their ancestors. Femi preached about God's love for all people, including those who followed different paths. It was not an easy journey. There were those who resisted fiercely, clinging to the old divisions. Adeboye's position as chief priestess was challenged, and Femi faced the threat of being recalled by his church. But slowly, gradually, change began to take root in Elembi. Villagers who had once been divided found common ground. They discovered that their faiths, rather than conflicting, could complement and enrich each other. The divine beings watching from above saw their wager play out in unexpected ways. It was not a matter of one faith winning over the other, but of both evolving into something new and beautiful. As the seasons turned, Elembi transformed. The village became known far and wide as a place of harmony and spiritual enlightenment. Pilgrims from different faiths traveled great distances to witness the miracle of Elembi, where ancient traditions and new beliefs coexisted in peace. Adeboye and Femi, their love no longer forbidden, stood at the heart of this transformation. Their union became a symbol of the bridging of worlds, a living proof that love could indeed overcome the greatest of divides. And so, in the kingdom of Elembi, a new chapter began. It was a story of faith and love, of tradition and change, of the sacred and the profane coming together in perfect harmony. The gods, both old and new, looked upon Elembi with pride, for in this small village, they saw the potential for a world united by love and understanding. As the sun set on another day in Elembi, Adeboye and Femi stood hand in hand, watching their community thrive. They knew that their journey was far from over, that there would always be challenges to face and obstacles to overcome. But they faced the future with hope and determination, knowing that their love, a love that had bridged the gap between different faiths and cultures, would light the way forward. And in the heavens above, the divine beings smiled, for they had witnessed the true power of love to transform not just two hearts, but an entire world.